Hey, everybody, welcome back to Too Many Men. We are excited. This is going to be great. My name is Allison Lucan. I take it as a sign from the universe when someone as brilliant, as beautiful inside and out, as smart, and as talented as a writer as Sara wears the same color hoodie I wear to a recording of Too Many Men. Sara, how the hell are you?
Thanks. Oh, I'm great now. Look at us in blue. We are kind of crushing it over here.
We try. We try. You look amazing as always. You are amazing as always.
Oh.
But we would not be Too Many Men without the equally brilliant, except for knowing when to use Google, stunning, crafty, looking for a promotion coming your way soon, Shayna. Think you know what that means. But the incredible, the beloved dog mom, the well-rounded individual, while I have no balance in my life right now, Shayna Goldman. Shayna, say hi.
Hi, I've never heard myself. That's the phrasing's already wrong. My brain just broke. I have never been called balanced in my life, so thank you. I will take that as a compliment. I'm like more chaotically like thrown together.
No,
There's no balance.
I feel like every once in a while I see you like not like totally engrossed in hockey and I'm like, live, let's do that. Go Shayna. Like that makes me
Yeah, but like
happy.
the hours I'm doing that, the
Yeah.
insanity of it, it's like, okay, hockey's over. Okay, I'm gonna stay up and read until 4 in the morning. Like
But that's
my
good.
balance is poor.
But you're still bad. You're not doing just one thing all the time is my point, I guess.
Yes,
Anyway,
yes.
we have a lot to get to. Sara, what time is it?
Time for bit o news.
It is time for Bito News. And my friends, after we discussed it and our opinions last episode, it is true. Our national nightmare is over. Alexander Ovechkin has broken the goal scoring record. He holds it all to himself. Congratulations to Ovi. I will say, as much as we talked about it, I thought the goal was perfect. It was a perfect goal. It was perfect that it was scored against a goaltender who had never allowed a goal by him before. The celebration was perfect, calling back to being in the fountain in DC after they won the cup. Congratulations, first and foremost, to Ovi. It's an incredible feat, but I also have some gripes. Number one, just because you have the most goals doesn't mean you're the greatest goal scorer of all time. And how long did we pause that game for like a ceremony that included thanking the officials? My mind is blown. Sara, there was good and bad. Again, congratulations to Alexander Ovechkin, an incredible feat. Tell us your takes all across the board.
Yeah, it stopped the game for a while, but at the same time, it was kind of like LeBron did the same thing and the same thing happened. Like, I like that there's an acknowledgement of the moment in history. I think Wayne Gretzky was kind of making it about himself too much with the FBI there and all. Like, I just think, why the fuck are you taking away like Ovechkin's moment a little bit like that? No matter what your politics are or whatever, it's just like making people talk and have a sour taste in their mouth. And maybe I'm being dramatic there, but anyway, the celebration went on for a while. That's okay. I liked I'm always like an aftermath person about it. Like I just saw an interview with Dylan Strome where he said he was happy he Ovechkin tied it and then broke it on two different nights so they could party both nights. I like that. I like that Budweiser was giving out beers to everybody that he hadn't scored on. And I like that, oh God, Olaf reached out, the former NHL goaltender, thanking him for whatever, like saying congrats on the record. And that Ovechkin responded that he had helped him. And Olaf was like, I know by, you scored on me once. He goes, no, you assisted me 5 times. So it reminds you that like Ovi genuinely does care about this and really remembers all his goals.
Yeah, very, very cool. Shayna, what were your takes?
Yeah, I mean, I can't believe we all sat down to watch it at 12:30 on a Sunday. That is
Yeah.
astonishing to me. You must have CTE if you're going to do something like that. But I like that it was on two separate nights. I did like that it wasn't on an empty netter. I like that he didn't go out for the empty netter. And there was a
100%.
lot of discourse about that one too, because it's like it was an icing, he couldn't have gone out. I'm sure in that stoppage, Spencer Carberry turned to him like, "Hey, if you want to go out there, we'll do a quick change so you can get out there." And that's what he was saying no to. Like, we
Mhm.
understand the rules of the game. It's okay. And the commentators were confused too. But I like that it was on two separate occasions. I think the on ice celebration for the Blackhawks one was a little bit like calmer and better in the moment, where it was like everybody got off the bench to celebrate with him and it was a couple of minutes versus rolling out the carpet. I don't even have an issue as much that they rolled out the carpet. I just think the way that they did it and who was out there made less sense to me. And this is not just about Gretzky and all of the bullshit. And yes, there's a reason why people are pissed at him. They should be right now. Like, since we have to say that apparently, that it is real. There are gripes for a reason with him. I didn't need him out there. I didn't need Janet Gretzky out there. That one
God,
made
well,
even
why
less
was
sense to
Janet
me.
out there? I mean, God
Right.
bless. Like,
Friends of the
Yeah.
pod.
yeah,
It's like you could have done that in the press box and handed whatever. I like that his wife and kids were out there and his mom. I think that made all the sense in the world if you're gonna do something like that. If it was just them and Bettman said a couple words and then handed the mic to Ovechkin, who absolutely crushed it with his speech, because I
100%.
was of the opinion I don't need this stoppage right now. And then he spoke and I'm like, you know what? I'm glad he did it while the building was still packed and full and it wasn't post game that it might have been like forgotten. But it was a big stoppage, and my one of my best friends is an Islander fan. He was here yesterday and he actually turned off the game when it happened because he's like, I don't want I he had nothing against Ovechkin. He hates his team and didn't care to see like a 20-minute stoppage in the moment. And he even said, he's like, what if the Islanders were truly in the playoff race and that game was
Yeah,
pivotal to them, that you're stopping it for 20 minutes and then saying, okay, resume the period. And I'm like, okay, I will hear you on that one.
yeah,
That's fair, right? Because it is a little bit awkward and clunky, but everyone also, I'm sure, was prepared for this, and I'm sure the players knew this would happen when it did. So there's good and bad to it. But I think it's, to me, he is the greatest goal scorer of all time. Not just because of the number of goals, the era he's done it, the way he's done it. I'm a very big fan of him. And I know now people are like, well, is he the greatest player of all time? Like, no, and that's okay. He is incredible at what he does. And I think it's cool to see everybody be pumped about it. Some of the videos were a little ridiculous, though. You're seeing like Cody Rhodes and Snoop Dogg, and you're like, these were probably filmed months ago. Like, just the great, if they wanted like LeBron and Jeter and Federer, like the greatest of other sports, it's one thing. But like, some of it was cheesy, but it's nice to see him get his moment and have guys like Nick Backstrom there, and him
yeah.
posting a ton about Nick Backstrom might have been the best part of it all.
The other tweet I loved, because Eddie Lack remains undefeated, right? He quoted the tweet about Budweiser sending the
Yep.
celebration. He said, "This is bullshit. If I knew there were beers involved, I would have tried harder."
Wait,
It's
and
the
did you
best.
see the video of him going to celebrate after? This was maybe my favorite part. And he walks into the party with his wife and gets handed two drinks, and she gets handed what looks like white wine. He doesn't question it. He takes the two beers like, thank you. Like the person knew, hand him two off the bat and he will be happy. And he took the two and he's like, thanks, I'll go
Mhm.
crush these.
Yep,
Mhm.
It was like unspoken, not like, oh, I only need one. It was just like, thank you, I'll
yep,
take these. I
yep.
love that.
No, I
Me
thought that was
too.
fantastic for sure. So, congratulations to Ovi. We acknowledge you and salute you. Good job. Good job by the Caps this season. We've talked about that. We will be talking about them more as they continue in the postseason. Let's move on to some other updates around the league and the Minnesota Wild, which are kind of hanging around and returning to being the Minnesota Mild of late. Do expect, as we record this, to get Kaprizov and Joel Eriksson Ek back in the lineup tonight versus San Jose. The Wild are still in a playoff spot. They look to be locked in. It doesn't seem like there's really, truly a huge risk of them falling out. But how big of a boost is that going to be, Sara?
It's everything. Like the significance of the injuries the Wild have had to endure, especially with Kaprizov's heart season before this happened. It's just so unfortunate, especially at a time like this. They're slipping dangerously close out of the play. I mean, they are still hanging on there due to the dysfunction of the rest of the teams out west. But the Blues came and took what was theirs with the wild card one, and it's like you're kind of slipping out of position, and you gotta get some of your best guys back as soon as possible.
Yeah, and Shayna, of course, these are two superstars for this team and stars in the league, but I don't know that we should expect like great things first game back. They've been gone for so freaking long.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you are playing the Sharks, so that is the one benefit of it all, right? but you never know how players are going to return because there's a difference between being at full speed and being healthy enough to return to the lineup or just needing a couple games or not being 100%, but they want the reps for the postseason. Like, we don't know the situation, and maybe the pressure of the Flames creeping up behind them, especially with that game on Friday night, which is going to be really big. If the Flames win tonight and the Wild don't, then they'll be separated by 3 points
Two,
if I'm oh, they'll
two.
be separated too. Okay. Yeah, so that's huge. So it's
Yeah,
great to have him back, and I'm sure like when you look at the rest of the roster caliber, like at the end of the day, I'm sure Kaprizov at even 60% back and Joel Eriksson is going to be better than not having him at all.
another player who may soon be back, and we've talked about this and just how insane this will be, is the captain of the Avalanche, Gabriel Landeskog. Landeskog, my goodness gracious, has been loaned to the Colorado Eagles. That's their AHL team for a conditioning stint. This is normal. We saw Jordan Eberle do this too before he returned after missing 40 games due to a major pelvis injury. It looks more and more likely that the captain is going to be back for Colorado. At this point, Sara, do you think for whatever reason, it's better to get him at least one regular season game, or do you just hold him and have him make his debut in playoff game number one?
Yeah, this is one of the most fascinating questions we've had to deal with, right? He's been out maybe longer than anyone who has ever been out and comes back, and it's like time for the playoffs. And he went through a lot of surgery and recovery. You got to get him in for a game in the regular season to see what you're dealing with when the team is so deep and been playing so well. It's not really fair. And I don't think he'd even want to kind of oust someone immediately when this is the situation.
Shayna, what's your decision?
I don't know logistically how they will fit him in the regular season under
Yeah.
the cap. That's where I'm like looking at it going like, can this work? But I think just getting him game action is going to be huge because honestly, no one knows how his body is going to respond to playing a game. Like nothing mimics game action. And I get the concern of like, well, is it safe to do it in an AHL setting because it's totally different? You don't know if anyone's just trying to make a name for themselves. Like you hope that doesn't happen, but that's the risk. But I think if they can get him in any game action, AHL or NHL, before the postseason, that is going to be the biggest thing. Even if it's like play a game, don't play a game, play a game, take the next night, and just ease into it. And I think that'll help because like when he left the lineup, he was an elite player. Can he get back to that elite level? I don't know, but they're going to need him in a different capacity. It's not like, okay, jump in and be on the first line. Like I think it'll be like, all right, ease in and be on the third line, and just having him there for vibes alone, I think will go a long way.
Well, and it's not just that he's been injured for this long, right? He's 2 years older, and this is
Yep.
not a
Yep.
spring chicken. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens there. Another player who's joining a team, and this is for the very first time, is 2024 fifth overall pick Ivan Demidov, who is being announced has signed an ELC with Montreal and is headed to the US. I understand some crazy fans have actually found what flight he's on and are tracking this, which folks, let the man live. But this is a player who was arguably in the conversation for top two behind Celebrini. And of course, as we know, there have long been questions about Russian players and their willingness and availability to come to the States. But many are saying again that this is perhaps the second best player to come out of this past draft. Sara, what do you make of this news and what do you expect, if anything, from the player?
I think it's extremely exciting for a team that just seems to be playing its heart out. They deserve it. You know what I mean? I feel like every game I watch with them, they're always in it. And it's like in a sea of teams in their position not being in it. They're jolting up, and it's a team I want to see kind of go maybe further than expected if they can.
Shayna, looking back now, people said that this pick was a gamble by Montreal just because, again, you don't know if the player is going to come over. Many teams have stories of players who never come over or players who don't come over when they are wanted to come over or can't come over. Looking back now, do you really love this pick by the Habs?
Yeah, I mean, you take the risk if the skill's there. But you look at Kaprizov, right? Like it was a waiting game for a while for the Wild, and they knew it, but it was worth the wait. And here, like the wait was not nearly as long as anticipated, and we don't know what goes on behind the scenes. So it's a calculated risk. And I think when you're a team like Montreal and like no one expected them to be here, right? The fact that they are almost locked into a playoff spot is absolutely remarkable. But like at this point in the season, most of us probably had them like, okay, maybe they're coming along and maybe next year they'll turn the corner. That you have that like runway that if he can't come yet, you go, okay, it'll still work out because they have a lot of other up and coming talent. So if you can get things figured out and then add in someone with star potential, then you take your game to the next level. So it made sense for where they were. This wasn't a team that had a bad year, like the Bruins, right? The Bruins probably want a quick turnaround, or like the Capitals a couple years ago, where it's like you want that to happen really fast that you're saying, snap your fingers, this player's going to be more ready.
We'll see. It's going to be interesting. I want to see him on the ice. It's going to be a transition, but can he be another Celebrini? Who knows? Let's move on to a feel-good story. And I actually talked about this on air last night, not only for the sake of getting fresh blood in the playoffs, but also just the narrative of it all. Last night, even though Ottawa loses in Columbus, they clinch a playoff spot. I am here for this. I love what it potentially sets up for matchups in the postseason. I love that the whole Brady being second fiddle to Matthew now has a chance to get elevated up to him having his run for the playoffs, if that's the thing. I love having him in the playoffs. I think it's going to be fantastic on and off the ice. Sarah, are you jacked for Ottawa? Are you happy about this?
Oh, yeah. It feels like we've been wanting them to be good forever. They go out, and I just want to beg everybody to get a damn goalie. It's not that hard to do the thing, and look what happens. It's like, oh, we're good at defense. We're not scoring that much. Why don't we make our defense better and get an actual goalie so they aren't? And it was a struggle during parts of the season, right? Where Allmark is getting used to it. And then it was like a while there for the Sens. They were playing the right way, I will say that, and the goals weren't coming, and they were like eking out wins by their defense. So I love that at the trade deadline, they went and got a situation that could really help them and could help the player and Dylan Cousins too. And then got rid of a player that kind of, as much as he's loved in the locker room, has been dealing with injury and never had the impact that he needed to have for this team. So I'm excited to see, obviously, playoff Kachuk, and then how a team that does has been on the deserve to win a meter, and a team that has a good skill set structurally does in the playoffs.
Shayna, one of the things I also love about this is how Ottawa did it, right? Like they come out of the trade deadline, they go 11-5-1, they push, they surge, they're playing good hockey, they're not limping in. Brady is still out, injured, but how legit is Ottawa going to be this postseason, or is this just the beginning of them becoming more legit in terms of being an actual contender?
I think that this is just the beginning for them. Like, there's definitely been growing pains this year, and you've seen it. Like, the defense was really good, and they were trending up, and it's like, wow, look at Travis Green's system, and they know what they're doing. And then they hit a wall, and then all of a sudden it fell apart. Then the goaltending went on a run. Then Linus Ullmark got hurt. Then it was the defense picking up, and so they've had to win in different ways. And I think that's really good because if you want to be a playoff team and you want to be a contender, you have to learn how to win on nights you're not at your best, right? You have to win with your B game and C game, but you also need to know when to bring out your A game. And I think it's starting to come together. Like they're more than just the pesky Sens. Now they're starting to build that identity of, being a better defensive team, and the goals will come as they get better in that regard. And obviously, like Sarah said, adding Cousins helps. So I think if they play a team like Toronto in round one, it's a trap series for the Leafs, and maybe they can do some damage. But otherwise, like maybe they don't, but that's okay. And it's kind of similar to Montreal, right? Like they're in this position because you're going to get this experience, you're going to get this seasoning, and that's going to help you in the long run. So if you don't do the damage this year, maybe just being there for a lot of players who haven't is going to help you and set you up for success next season, right? And that's especially true for guys like Brady Tkachuk, who I think Four Nations, if anything, taught us it is like he is built for guys like him and Larkin. You're dying to see in the playoffs because they have that energy. So if he can bring that and set the tone too, as someone who hasn't been there before, and you pair that with like a Claude Giroux's experience, I think it'll have a really good impact on this roster that'll help them with ideally the start of a long window.
Sarah, do you want a Battle of Ontario in round one?
I really do. I feel like that's going to get the people going in Canada. It obviously eats Canada alive, though, so maybe we can hear less of X years since Canada won, and like there will be more of an in. Well, maybe there's not this year with all the tariffs and everything going to be like more infighting when it comes to Canada, but I digress.
All right, let's go on to a team you already mentioned, Sarah, a team that has also come from behind in terms of the standings and solidified and jumped teams to hold on to the first wild card spot in the West. And that is the St. Louis Blues. I almost said the Minnesota Wild. The St. Louis Blues, shockingly or not, their 12-game win streak comes to an end on Monday. They lose to Winnipeg. My personal take is I think this is good. You don't want to be holding on to this massive win streak because you want to lose at least once and then you can get back on the wagon going into the playoffs. I feel like it can be too much, right? Because I've covered teams that have long win streaks, and towards the end, they're like, we're slipping in our habits. We're kind of feeling the pressure of like maintaining the streak versus playing the right way. Sara, are you happy or sad that the win streak is over?
Yeah, that's a great point. They did literally exactly what they needed to do, right? They didn't just they, I feel like the confidence of not just getting into the playoffs, but then saying, we're going to challenge for a wild card one, too. It's in reach. And then, all right, we're here. Nothing else is going to happen. We're good. I mean, if you're going to lose too, it's like nice to lose to maybe the best team in the league. You know what I mean? I feel that was a perfect confidence booster. And now you want to start pumping the brakes before the playoffs and making sure you're not genuinely tweaking anything for the hell of it.
Yeah, for sure. Shayna, what do you think?
Yeah, I think that it's good. They got hot at the right time, and obviously you have to hope now like the Heat didn't completely burn out and they're totally screwed, and I don't think that'll be the case. But it's good to like kind of get that reality check in there because a lot of times when teams go on these really long win streaks, you see them kind of get, I don't know if complacent's the perfect word, but maybe too comfortable. And you see things below the surface start falling apart, and then you get worried, like, okay, just because you're getting the results, are you going to change anything? Like the last, like I think 3 or 4 games of it, their defense, which has been the best strength of this whole run, has trended in the wrong direction. And granted, you're going up against teams like, Colorado and Winnipeg, but you also did against Pittsburgh, the last team they lost to before the break. So I think the fact that you started to see those trends start emerging the last couple of games, it's like, okay, this is the reality check to be like, go back, settle things down, and now go for it. So it's not a bad thing. And like Sarah said, to lose to the Jets, who this isn't a team that's just complacent in a playoff spot. Like they are fighting to hold on to being the number one seed. If you're gonna lose to anyone, it's not the worst thing. It's not like they got the doors were blown off. Like they put up a good fight.
We want to end our bit of news with a little bit more of a somber of a tone, and that is that today, Wednesday, as right before we recorded, it was announced that a long-standing, valuable member of the hockey community, especially in the executive offices and front offices throughout the league, Ray Shero, has passed away. I did not have the chance to interact with him directly or cover him directly, but he always was represented by those who knew him and worked with him as being of exemplary character, and tributes are pouring in all over the league, and we'll continue to see them. But one that really kind of hit home to me, and this is reported by the Athletic's Mike Russo, is that a very emotional Bill Guerin said, quote, "He changed my life." Sara, I know you were the first to put this news in our chat this morning. Just what thoughts would you like to share?
Yeah, Ray. I just obviously the stories you hear, they're the funniest things in the world. And one day, a few years ago, like a long time ago, um, he went to the same high school, prep school as my dad. My dad played basketball though, but they were at this reunion and he just walks up to my dad and he's just like, that name looks so familiar. And then it like hit him and he goes, oh my God, like I fucking love your daughter. And like went on this whole rant about like he liked my work and well, I'm not gonna, okay. But like there were certain situations that have happened in my career, and he's like, I have her back. And you know what? He always did. Like, I I'm not the person that like had maybe like maintains many relationships around the league, right? But he reached out to me in the way I feel like he treated me like an equal among insiders or something. Just maybe he'd share a story or anything that could help and just made me always know that I was included and wanted in the hockey space. And I was friends with his son and I still am, but it's just like, I don't know, sad to, it's devastating. He is just what everything is good about hockey culture. And he cared about women in the sport and wanted to support us. So just a great guy. All the stories you hear, they're true and he's awesome.
Dana, anything you would like to add?
Yeah, I didn't know him personally or interact with him, but I think it's always telling when you see the outpouring, which you're seeing across the league, right? Like you're seeing um, Russo and Bill Guerin in Minnesota to people in St. Louis and New Jersey and Pittsburgh and all around the league. Like he made his mark and he made an impact. So it's nice. It's always nice to see a person get their moment, and it's sad sometimes that they're not the ones that get to see it, but I'm sure like for the family it's nice to see like just how like beloved and how impactful he was.
Yeah, it's definitely, you can tell with the things people are saying, these aren't just the cliches that are being rolled out there. They're very genuine. And Shayna, you make an excellent point. Always remember to tell people that you love them and why you love them while they can receive their flowers. That's one of the best gifts we can all give. Sarah, I'm so glad he was part of your success too. That's awesome.
Yeah. Rest in peace.
All right, my friends, we are going to move on in a transition to a brand new segment that demands our attention. Y'all, I introduce you to the very first ever fully included boots on the ground. Sara is applauding. If you all remember, we issued a plea. We said, listeners, friends, Too Many Men community, enlighten us as to this soda shop experience that exists in Utah and specifically Salt Lake City. We were desperate to know. We were desperate to understand. And I kind of wrangled / forced my beloved Stephen, who attended the Kraken Clubbers game last night, to go to a soda shop in Salt Lake City. Y'all, I bring you his cinematic and quite dramatic initial experience in a soda shop. Please enjoy.
Okay, this is a boots on the ground report for the Too Many Men podcast, and we are trying a dirty soda. We are at, where's this place called? Sweet Roll Tacos, and I am doing a PCO, which is Dr. Pepper, peach, and vanilla cream. I am not a soda drinker, so I have no idea what this is going to be like. So anyone that seems appealing to me, and we're going to give this a shot. This is on the outskirts of the Delta Center, pre-game in the afternoon. Gorgeous day here. Very interesting. Very interesting. Thanks for all the listeners out there. Too Many Men podcast, boots on the ground, reporting from Salt Lake City, Utah.
All right. Well, Stephen, we tried to get you on the pod as well, but you didn't answer my texts, and wow, it was really impressive to stare at the menu the entire time you told us about your order. By the time we got this video, I was like, this is amazing. Thank you so much. I can't wait to capture a picture of you drinking it. Tell us what's happening. And the text back I got was, I already left. So
It was unbelievable. Already finished and walking is what he said to us. Already finished and walking.
It was a business trip.
So, Stephen, we'll work with you on capturing the moment a little bit more effectively. But he did respond with a second boots on the ground experience with, again, dramatic visuals. Please, if you don't know we're on YouTube, you'll have to experience it there. Please enjoy this second update of the soda shop experience in Salt Lake City.
Okay, post-beverage, Too Many Men podcast, boots on the ground, analysis of the soda. I would rate it 6 out of 10. I'm not a soda guy. Novelty, 7 or 8 out of 10. Probably would not go out of my way to get one again. Just, again, not a soda drinker, but definitely a unique experience, but nothing other than that. Go Too Many Men.
All right, so there it is in all of its glory. Sara, your thoughts?
It's an A+ for effort. I loved the disclaimers. Not a soda guy. This man does not drink soda, people. I respect the honesty, and I respect the in-depth, the separate okay, 7 to 10 for novelty. Like it is a novel experience. That's what it's for. And it wasn't awful. He wasn't intentionally shitting on it. He was being honest, and I appreciate that about him. I would have loved a little more visual help, but what are we gonna do?
Dana, what do you think?
I appreciate the experience and the sacrifice he made to try one for us. He really took one for the team. But yes, we needed we needed a better tour of this facility. Last time on the pod, I had like talked about how I'm going to force one of my friends to do this. And I was talking to her last night, and she has been to one, but she was there so long ago. It was before my obsession, so she did not take notes and videos. So one, I'm going to try to send Emily back there, and two, she did report to me about this syrup wall that I really wish I could have experienced and seen. And it is the one thing I am upset that I did not see, because there's something about that that I think would really just show and put in perspective like how many flavors and options and how off the rails this truly is. But I do appreciate that he tried it. I I am shocked he picked one with cream in it.
I'm not.
That to me is
He went for gold.
I also feel like based on my, extreme in-depth research through what is it called? The Real Lives of Mormon Wives viewings. I feel like the cream is quite standard because they're drinking so much of this, they need it so they don't give themselves ulcers.
okay. I mean, I guess that's fair, but I don't know. I don't know. Like, okay, I don't like
Don't
cream
judge the
soda.
man's choices.
I'm not. I am appreciative that I did it. When I looked at the menu, I was like, okay, I cannot see myself putting any sort of milk, or even if it's a non-dairy one, just like into my soda. Like that's a different experience. The only time I will allow dairy plus soda to meet is like a root beer float or a Coke float, something of that nature. But otherwise, I'm like that. It's like church and state. I need them separated.
I will say my favorite part was at the end. Go too many men.
It was very enthusiastic, and I appreciate how we're dragging people into doing these boots on the ground videos, and like we encourage everyone to send us to them as you're in Utah, and also like just this postseason, like vibe
Yes.
around and send us some, like this is important.
Yes.
But wait, did you want to pick out flavors?
Yes, I'm bringing that now. So, as we heard from Stephen, he enjoyed the Peachy O. I have the menu here that Stephen shared with us from the location to which he went. We have categories. We have 16 drink choices. We have looked at this, all of us. Sarah, which one are you going to order?
I
These are
mean,
insane.
as they said, we talked about Skinny Mom. I don't endorse the name. I'm
No.
not skinny or a mom. What's skinny aunt? Skinny
Also,
family, I
what
get. What
about
about skinny
normal mom?
husband?
What about
Skinny
normal
boy?
mom? You don't have to be skinny.
Yeah. You don't have
Anyway,
to be skinny. I don't want you to be skinny. And this is about moms and aunts, whatever. But that being said, I do dabble in putting the lime in the coconut and mixing it all up. And it's a Diet Coke. So I think I'm going to go with skinny mom. But I let them hear it about I get on my pedestal about what about skinny dad?
100%. Shayna, what is your choice?
Um, I think if I were at a place like this where I'm trying something and trying to be different, like I'm definitely going for something that does not have cream in it. I would try the lime Ricky because like to me, I've had like drinks called lime Rickies and they've been cherry flavored things like
Okay.
that is more like cherry Coke with lime. This is grape Sprite and fresh lime
Oh,
that I'm like, okay, that is different. I would try it. I also feel like the Slay Queen of Red
mm.
Bull pineapple and strawberry puree would be something. Potentially a heart attack, but
They're all
why
heart
not?
attacks. Look
There,
at these things.
honestly, the white monster coconut cream blue raspberry, I feel like
That's
should not be consumed. And I'm not trying to be like a snob or something.
Not be
I feel like
consumed.
that is like death to your insides.
Okay. I also would like to point out how hard can this be? Because I just realized, in addition to these names, which my friends, if you're not watching the video, I think this is in the video. If you're not watching it, like these names are not hard to say, but they also have codes. Like, can you not remember Skinny Mom? Do you have to say DS9? Do you see the codes in the corner?
Yeah.
What is happening? If I was going to get one, I think I would. So when I was in college, I would literally, I don't drink soda either anymore. So this is part of one of the many reasons Stephen and I get along is I used to drink a 2 liter of Mountain Dew every single day.
Oh my God.
So the It's Giving, which is Diet Mountain Dew, sugar-free pineapple and sugar-free strawberry, might be a go-to, or at the risk of my intestinal health, the Delulu, which is also just fun to say,
Yep.
but Red Bull, passion fruit, grapefruit, which they've made 2 words instead of one, it's 1 word, and fresh lime be my go-to. But this is
It's
also,
giving is definitely that would be good. That
did
would
you
definitely be
notice
good.
there's no smalls? You can only get a medium, a large, or an extra large.
Well, I feel like if you went with the small, like, how are you fitting in any soda? Because you know, like when you get a coffee and you'll be like, oh, can I get a pump of this syrup? And you see them like hammering in 4 pumps and it's already like this much of your drink. Like, I feel like the cream is thicker. It's gonna take up more space in the cup. What are you gonna do? Like, get a little like
You just
teaspoon
put a
and like dollop?
splash.
No,
You just
no,
put
that's too much work.
I,
You gotta go
why
big.
don't you
Go
just
big
make
or
it,
go home.
but then just make it small. Look, you can't tell someone she has to be a skinny mom and then she can't order a small drink. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah, like pick one.
Yeah, I want to know too, like, do kids have these or dirty sodas only an adult thing?
I don't know. I don't know. Because Stephen, you're gonna have to go back. We
Yeah,
have
go
many
back.
questions. Many, many questions. All right. That
Anyway,
any final thoughts on the soda experience?
I'm going to Utah. One day I'm gonna experience this myself. I'm just gonna sit there for like an hour. I'm gonna like bring a book or like a newspaper so it looks like I'm
A
busy and I'm gonna be like a
newspaper?
spy.
You're gonna bring a
Yeah, I want to be like a
newspaper.
spy that I'm very like incognito in the corner, like pretending to read, and then I'm actually just people watching all day. Like maybe I should get a cool hat or glasses and really go like spy mode.
Sarah, any final
That's
thoughts?
boots on the ground if I've ever heard it.
So, in all seriousness, thank you, Stephen. We love you. We appreciate you. The next time you're going to take video, check with us first what we really need to see in frame. A
The new
video of
director's cut.
we do.
Yeah.
All right, all right, all right. Let's return now and wrap things up with some hockey talk. It's all about the playoffs. Let's start with the team that we started with on a player level, and that is the Washington Capitals. They did lose in the game in which Ovi broke the record, but they have clinched the Metro Division. There they are. No one saw this coming, including myself. Good for them. They have 107 points. Behind them are the Hurricanes with 96 points. So there's basically no way. I mean, there is a way, but it's not going to happen. And the New Jersey Devils with 89 points. We've talked about them a lot this season, but now as we head into the playoffs, Sarah, how can you kind of put a bow on the Caps and them now ascending to be the top of their division?
Oh, perfect, fun, vibey, modern. I like, oh, we got to talk about Tom Wilson's career year too. I like how everybody on the team basically played. I like that it's kind of the opposite of situations in years past where it's kind of nobody wants to be there. It's like everybody thought it was going to be a continuation of that, and it turned out being no, we're going to score a ton of goals. We're going to get to the absolute top, make no mistake. And I liked it didn't seem, although there was theoretically pressure, it did not seem from top to bottom with Ovi's record to anything that there was pressure ailing this team, and it was fun to watch.
Dana, they also have the most points in the East. Again, just incredible when you think about how low expectations outside of the organization, perhaps is fair to say, were for this group. What's your summation of what the Caps have done this year?
We have to give a ton of credit to like everyone at all levels, right? Like we have to give credit to management for spotting not just, oh, this person's a gem and we know it and they're a superstar, but players who needed a new situation, like Pierre-Luc Dubois for Darcy Kemper. That is a slam dunk trade for both sides. And at the
Yes.
time, you could rationalize it and go, this makes sense. This addresses a need. But can either player ever play up to their cap hit? And I don't think anyone could have predicted it going as well as it's gone. And guys like Andrew Mangiapane, like he's a really good defensive winger on that third line, and bring in Chikrin. But then it goes on to coaching. They get Chikrin, and the coaching knows how to plug him into this lineup to maximize his game because he's someone that has to be in specific usage, right? Like they've done it in such a way that it's so impressive that you have the incoming new faces, the up and coming players, and the aging core come together and it revitalizes this team. It's absolutely incredible. And, you know, the players deserve credit too for buying in and playing as well as they have. So it's a great thing for them to be in this position because now you get to experiment for the postseason. And they've been doing that a little bit. Before Logan Thompson got hurt, we saw them start changing up their rotation of every other game to it's as simple as Thompson's getting 2 starts, Lindgren gets 1, then it's back to Thompson, back to Lindgren, and then Thompson's getting 2 again. And just sneaking in that extra start to get him those reps. And now he's hurt, so it's going to give Charlie Lindgren a chance to like get on a roll because we know he can be a a 1A if they need him to be. So things might not look perfect at this moment, right? They lost, Ovechkin breaks the record and they lose the game, but I think this is good for them because they're going to start mixing and matching things. They're going to see how Ryan Leonard fits in this top 6, and then they can figure out what to do with Protus when he comes back and how to like best balance this group. So I think they're in a really good position.
Let's talk about a team that may not be in as good of a position, and that is the Edmonton Oilers. They remain without Skinner, their goaltender, and of course the 2 superstars, Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. They are 5-4-1 in their last 10. They sit in 3rd in the Pacific, behind Vegas and LA. They lose a game in LA on the weekend that could have been pivotal, that will probably end up being super pivotal for home ice benefits, which
Wow, Freudian slip there. Pitiful, but pivotal.
for home ice situation, which Edmonton has talked about in the past wanting. But those 3 injuries are significant, particularly if they last. Draisaitl arguably might be the most concerning because he did come back to play and then left in the same game in which he returned. Understandably, teams are tight-lipped around this time, but Sara, with those 3 players in particular out and with how Edmonton is not playing their best hockey, arguably headed into the postseason, what are you thinking about the Oilers?
And the last thing you want is not having Jeff Skinner. Oh my God, Stuart Skinner. Now I'm doing the Freudian slip. You're okay without Jeff Skinner, no offense. Stuart Skinner, it's like, it's not that he's the problem, but he's not necessarily the solution in any way. You should have gotten a goalie regardless, because what if he gets hurt? And then he got hurt, and now you have Calvin Pickard, who sweetness is not the answer at all. And you don't want to see this happening. And you want Stuart Skinner, you can't control injuries, but you want him to be going in with good confidence. And now he's thinking, all right, well, my backup can't get the job done and I'm nursing something. And then, of course, it all falls apart when there's just not that goaltender you trust. It doesn't have to be the goaltender best in the world, but like, I know everybody on the Panthers roster would like die for Bobrovsky when it comes down to it during the playoffs. But anyway, yeah, I mean, you don't want your Hart Trophy candidate who's likely going to win out either. It just all sucks, but it's like, it just shows how you can't rely on one thing, no matter even if it's generationally the best that thing ever has been to bring you to the playoffs in this era.
Shayna, of the 3 that are out, who are you most concerned about in terms of this is the, I mean, McDavid, obviously, but these are players that they need to have in the lineup to contend?
I'm actually going to go with Matthias Ekholm. I'm going to go a little
yes,
off
I did not
board
mention
there.
him.
Well,
Thank
you
you.
need
Yes,
that.
thank you.
Yeah, because like I'm worried about McDavid and Draisaitl, but we know for a fact the 2 of them, even at 70%, is better than most players. We saw Leon Draisaitl kill it in the postseason before when he was literally working
On
with
one
one leg.
leg, yeah.
Yeah. And I like that they're going, you know what, screw it. We could go for these points right now and force these guys to play. And instead they're like, they might get 2 weeks off. And I think that's going to do absolute wonders for them. I'm not worried about the rest factor. I think just do what you need for them and figure the rest out later. So I think that's like a good position to be in, right? Like to say, we know they'll both be ready for the playoffs. But with Ekholm, before he was out of the lineup with injury, before they added Jake Wallman, like his game was really bad. Like he struggled at 4 Nations, and it could have been the injury lingering for him then a bit. So getting Wallman, it was like, well, he can always jump up. Maybe aging has finally caught up to him because he's in his mid-30s, and like you can start questioning and go, is it the injury or is it the health? But I feel like we know that Draisaitl and McDavid are going to cook in the playoffs and do their thing, and they're going to be the star power that the Oilers have always had and always need. And if guys like Jeff Skinner and Nugent Hopkins and Hyman can just step up a little bit, I think they'll be fine offensively. But their defense has to be top notch to protect their goaltending, no matter who is in net. And I think they know that Wallman can jump through all 3 pairs, and that's fine. But in the postseason, like you don't want it that you're so worried and so concerned, like if Ekholm isn't healthy, can't play, or isn't at his best.
I did forgot about Ekholm, but yes, it's
That's
the
a good
Kraken.
take.
It is a great
That's a
take.
good podcast take. Like, I'd like to listen to a podcast and hear that take. So good job to us today.
You know, it's like when podcasts predict that Vancouver isn't going to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Who's to say?
Ooh.
Anyway, let's wrap up this hockey talk with some quick hits of you're looking at the schedule, and these are games that are circled in red, in bold, big potential decisive contests for how this postseason shakes out, both in terms of who is in and where teams are in the standings. Let's start with a game we already alluded to, and that is Calgary and Minnesota. Calgary being 4 points back of Minnesota. They have a game in hand. So this is not just a 4 point game, but there is still ground that Calgary can make up on the rest of the regular season. They meet Friday. They're both going to play tonight before that game. But Sara, just quick, and we're just taking our stabs here. Calgary, Minnesota on Friday. Is Calgary going to make it a difference-making game and win and still contend for the wild card spot?
Yes, it's just huge, right? It means so much. That's kind of the game you play your heart out for. But you say that, and then the Red Wings couldn't get it done on the other side last night. So maybe they just don't have the juice. It'd be kind of sad if they lost, but they'd have no one to blame but themselves.
Wouldn't it be amazing if every Canadian hockey team made the playoffs except the Vancouver Canucks?
Come
That would be
on.
unbelievable.
Shayna, who's your pick in Calgary, Minnesota on Friday?
I I'm gonna say the Flames, and I think both teams are gonna win tonight. Ducks and Sharks are their opponents. That it's gonna like it's still gonna matter. And then it's next week when you look at like matchups against Vegas and LA. That's when you go, okay, that's when the flame Calgary is going to flame out.
Hey, good job.
But I think it'll even with a Kaprizov back and with Joel Eriksson, I can see that one being that really, really, really tight game.
All right, let's move on. Deeper in the schedule, Montreal is on a 6-game heater, wins in all of those contests. They sit 3 points back of Ottawa. We're no longer talking about is Montreal going to be able to hold on to that wild card spot. It seems highly likely. But when Montreal and Ottawa meet Friday night, is Montreal going to continue to close the gap and contend against Ottawa for the first wild card spot? What say you, Sara Civian?
Why not? I mean, there's no reason to count them out. I think Cole Caulfield's had a gigantic season. Nick Suzuki has really stepped up. And Lane Hudson, I think he's going for the all-time rookie defenseman points record. And why shouldn't he? Why not us, the Montreal Canadiens? You and I, we, us. We're all Montreal Canadiens.
Are you saying we have it?
Oh my God.
Okay. Shayna, what's your pick in this game?
We have it. I am all in on the Canadians. No offense to the Senators. I'm all in. I'm having so much fun because I love that someone actually wanted the wild card seed and they ran with it. I think the game's gonna be electric, just like it was last time. I think the Canadians are gonna win it. Winning 7 straight is a big ask, but I think they're gonna do it. And then they play the Leafs the next night, which makes it even better. I love it. I never, ever, ever would have thought the Canadians would have had a chance to even go, oh, we're gonna get closer to Ottawa. Like they would just be firmly in the eighth seed. So for the sake of disrupting the playoff picture, which they've done a great job of, I say continue it.
And the final game that we have our eyes on is on Thursday. So we got 2 must watches on Friday and 1 must watch on Thursday. And that is when Dallas plays Winnipeg. If you weren't paying attention, my friends, last night, Vancouver goes to Dallas. This game was insane. First of all, the first 5 goals in the game are power play goals. First 5 goals that cross all 3 periods. The Dallas Stars are up 5-2, including, and then they get an empty net goal before.
2 empty nets, right?
I thought it was just one.
I
thought it
thought
was
they
just one.
got 2, but I might be wrong.
Anyway, empty net goals were scored. And then Vancouver, in literally 1 minute of
No, it was 1. You're right. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
You're right.
In 1 minute of time, scores 3 goals, including 2 from P.S. Suter, who, my goodness gracious, obviously was the 1C they needed all along. And then Vancouver goes on to win the game in overtime. Is Dallas sputtering Sara, we know they have some injuries. They expect Tyler Seguin back, Miro Heiskanen, a bigger question mark for round one. But when Dallas plays Winnipeg on Thursday, is Dallas going to reclaim the magic, or are we concerned?
When's there ever been magic in Dallas? I'm
Ooh.
going to ask you that. They can win a lot, and I'm still just like, I'm looking for the next level. I'm sorry, I'm a hater. I'm sorry. And I think Wyatt Johnston's going to come in and give me the next level this playoff run. I get there's certain teams I think I just get sick of because I'm like, show me in the playoffs, right? When you're good. And like Hurricanes, I will say I will stand on, but the Hurricanes are another one of them, right? I'm like, I don't genuinely give a fuck what they do until it comes time for the playoffs once they've qualified, right? So, you know what? I would prefer them to not care that much about what happens in the regular season right now and take a note from the NBA for once. PK Subban's not going to like that one. He hates the NBA and he's getting all the airtime in the world to talk about it and embarrass us. I love the NBA. I love that they sit the good players out to some degree so that they can play the best basketball of their lives in the playoffs. And
100%.
I would like to see the Stars focus on that because I want to see them do something in the playoffs, right? This isn't like the Cinderella story. They know what's going on, and I'm not concerned until game one.
Sara makes a good point, Shayna. Dallas is definitely in that spot in their trending where they have been good for so long, and now it's time to intentionally make a big next step. What do you think about the Dallas Winnipeg contest coming up?
I am so excited for it. If they had one more point and there was only 3 points separating these teams, I think it would have a little bit more juice. But I still think it's going to be good because this game is huge for both sides. If you're Winnipeg as good as you are this year, you don't want Colorado in round one. Nobody should want Colorado in round one. And the same goes for Dallas, especially trying to do this without Heiskanen. So I think the worst case scenario is that this is like a 3-point game and that Winnipeg gets that extra point even if Dallas wins. But I think the Stars are going to win this game. I feel like the Jets got their really big win. They won against Vegas, took a step back. They won against the Blues. Now I'm going to be like, all right, Dallas is going to win this game. And then I think the Jets have two like easier games to end the year, including the Blackhawks. That is like, those will be their easy wins. So we'll see how it goes after that. But for the sake of the drama, I'm going to say they're going to win to spice this up.
Great. We love it. We love it. These are games we'll be watching. We'll report back next week to see what's happening. We're sure there's still going to be more jostling around in the standings as teams start to fall out of contention. And now we see matchups really take form. But before we go, we wrap up our episode with everybody's favorite game, and that is a game of Fuck, Marry, Kill. As is tradition, Sara, you will go first. Are you ready for your question and your options?
I am.
All right, here we go. Fuck, Marry, Kill. Which team you think can upset a series and come out as the winner? Your options are St. Louis, Ottawa, or Montreal.
This is so hard because it's all like it's three different brands of a situation. And it really, really depends on the seeding, right?
Yes.
So we're going to
Yes.
see who the opponents are, but I'm unfortunately just by that logic killing the St. Louis Blues, even though they've been the team that have proved the most and have really impressed me the most. But just looking at the field out west, I wouldn't want to go against anybody in the first round. So I'm just going to have to kill them by logic. I am going to fuck the Senators. They just have not, they don't have a happy-go-lucky vibe. I am really happy that they got in, and I'm glad they got in, but it should have been a little bit easier for them to get in. And I worry with how they should have done it. They have a little bit of pressure, and I'm going to marry Montreal because there doesn't seem to be any pressure, and that's the scariest place for a team in this situation to be. And the East is weaker.
That's a good call. Good point there. Shayna, what are your picks?
I'm going to kill the Senators.
Ooh.
Because listen, if it's Leafs Senators, I will be picking the Senators. I'm not gonna lie. But if it's Florida, which I don't think it'll be at this point, or Tampa, I don't think the Senators have a shot. I feel like it won't be, and I don't want to say I'm sorry, Senators fans. But if they play the Leafs and win that series, it's not going to solely be the fact that the Senators beat them. It's going to be that the Leafs can't get out of their own way. So to me, it's a little
Which
bit
is
different.
tradition. So
Right. Um, but it's kind of a process of elimination thing. I will fuck Montreal because again, it's going to be very hard to carry this momentum into the postseason, right? Like we were saying, you win games like this and then sometimes you can like get ahead of it. I think that it seems, unless somehow they jump up, which again, that would be wild, that they'll get the Capitals, and I don't want to like cut the Capitals out and be like, oh yeah, they could totally take them out and join the fold of everyone saying the Capitals aren't for real. I think Montreal, no matter what happens, this is a win. I think it's a great experience for them, but I think that there are some issues that concern me, and it's they're playing their own D zone sometimes, and how they get out of playing defense to offense, and the penalty kill that you see the flaws and go, I don't know if they're going to be able to do enough to overcome that, but I can see how they could get hot in a series. And like Sarah said, like there's no pressure and just surprise, right? And they're getting reinforcements. So I'm like the most torn on that. I will marry the Blues because they've been really, really, really good. And they've been really good against good teams across this entire win streak. They're going to have a healthy Colton Parayko. And they've been doing this without someone who, when he left the lineup, was truly playing like a number one defenseman, shouldering top pair minutes and against top competition. And Holloway ideally will be back for the postseason, right? There's a little bit less clarity on that. I think getting those two reinforcements will give this team the jump they need. I think that if they stay where they are, I could see them making a series against Vegas kind of interesting. I still don't know if I'm like, yeah, you're going to win this series, but I think I can see them just fucking up what we expect to happen the way that they're playing a little bit more. I could see that against the Jets or Vegas. I think if Dallas jumps up to number one, I would still just go with the Stars.
All right. I am actually going to kill Montreal. And this is simply because of the three, I think, as we talked about, they're kind of just beginning their real build. And I just don't think, and again, to your point, Shayna, particularly with the matchups, like it's not their year. God bless. We love this for you. We're happy you're there, but just be happy to be there. And next year, maybe we start to build and get some series under our belt. I'm going to fuck Ottawa just because I love the narrative of it. And I would have married them because, again, I actually have faith in Ottawa. I think they're fun. I think kind of showing that they could do what everyone thought they couldn't do is a huge thing for them going into the postseason. But I am going to marry St. Louis. And the reason I'm going to marry St. Louis is I have asked a couple players around the league, like, how does this happen? And again, it doesn't happen every year, but this is now twice that St. Louis basically goes from the bottom or close to the bottom of the league to come into a playoff spot and just look unbeatable. And one comment that stood out to me that one of the players mentioned was it's like the front office builds this team for the postseason. So it's just all like fucking around until it's time to like do the thing, and then they do the thing. Now, I don't fully understand what that means yet, but it was interesting to hear a player say it's the front office. So I'm curious. I want to dig into that some more, but that's why I'm going to marry them. All right. That'll do it for this episode. My friends, I will remind you that particularly this episode, if you want to experience the epic cinematography of Stephen, you can find us on YouTube at 2_much_man. I'm supposed to tell you to please like and subscribe. That's the thing you do on the tube. You can also find us under the same handle, 2_much_man, on Twitter and Instagram. And on BlueSky, we are 2_much_man. We do have merch. It is out there, but we are working to see if we're going to move vendors because stuff is just imminently stalled. And Lord knows if the tariffs are going to make it even worse, who's to say? So it's out there. We're trying. We appreciate those of you who are supporting us, but don't feel obliged to go get that stuff right this second. We'll let you know what we find out. But what you can do, and it will hopefully cost you nothing, is to do something, no matter how big or small, to make sure that hockey truly is for everyone. We will talk to you soon.
Love you.
Bye.